Folks, your favorite source of inside information is back at it again. Tom Henderson has taken not only to Twitter, but to his YouTube accounts to reveal some very interesting information regarding what may be Warzone 2. There's a little bit of misunderstandings going on that I'd like to clear the air with. There's a little bit of information coming out even now, and I'm very excited to dive into things, but it does seem like we are getting something big coming to Warzone, possibly by the end of this year, if not early next year. And like I said, I am dying to talk about it, so let's dive right in and try to paint a clear as possible picture of a very complicated matter. From what Tom can tell us, we're looking at a Warzone game produced by Infinity Ward with a brand new map and a brand new everything else. Quote, it's IW's Warzone map that is set to be a clean slate for Warzone and was scheduled to release in holiday 2022. Clean slate meaning starting again, scrapping everything like weapons, operators, etc. As he brings up in the thread, and as we'll see from a few other sources, Warzone 2, or the more broad mention of Warzone's future, has been brought up before. It's mentioned here in this company email from Raven Software studio head Brian Raffel that mentions the ongoing expansion of Warzone. This email comes courtesy of Nicole Carpenter, senior reporter for Polygon. It's also worthy of note while we're here talking about this email that it also mentions the QA team, who you may be familiar with recently passing a vote for unionization, being embedded across the studio, which has some interesting implications, but it's a subject for a whole nother video. One of the first mentions we have of it being Warzone 2 specifically comes from Jason Schreier, who stated the following. Activision is committed to releasing at least the next 3 Call of Duty games on PlayStation even after the Xbox acquisition, according to people familiar with the deal. That's Call of Duty 2022, Call of Duty 2023, and Warzone 2 in 2023. After that, it's hazier. This again adds further detail to another story we've talked about, the future of Call of Duty titles appearing on PlayStation following the Microsoft acquisition. But again, that's content for a whole other video. Sticking to what's relevant, Warzone 2 was reported here to be a 2023 release. So you may have already noticed 2 conflicting points, one being the release date and the other being Warzone mentioned as a Warzone 2 versus an expansion to the Warzone in different places. Lucky for us, Tom addressed this not only on Twitter, but also on his stream that he recently posted talking about this at great length. Starting with Twitter, we can look at this handy graph that displays in brief what you can read at length. That Warzone 2, which may or may not be what it's actually called, will be a total from the ground up new game built alongside Modern Warfare 2, designed for next gen consoles, which may or may not have past gen presence as well, and if so, may or may not have crossplay. Warzone 2 would run alongside the existing Warzone, which would be continuously supported. All of this, of course, is subject to change at this point. He also talked about this in a recent stream, like I mentioned, that I also highly recommend checking out. It's long, throw it on in the background while you're doing something else if you must, but there's definitely some tidbits in this that are well worth hearing.
Up until the Bloomberg article by Jason Schreier or Schreier or whatever he's called, I didn't hear about Warzone 2. So typically what happens with leaks is that when a big leak or report comes out, like the Warzone 2 stuff, typically a lot of other developers or sources or whatever you want to call them will then come out and, reveal more information because, well, the seal has been broken, so to speak. So it's then it gets much easier for people to talk about it. So I was speaking to a few developers yesterday, specifically Infinity Ward developers, about Warzone 2, and none of the developers that I've spoken to have heard about Warzone 2 either until this report came out. We know we're getting 3 Call of Duty titles by the end of 2023. We know that we're getting Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 this year by Infinity Ward. We know that we're getting Call of Duty 2023 next year by Treyarch Games, and then we also know that we're going to get this new Call of Duty Warzone 2 or whatever it's going to be. Maybe there's some legal jargon in the Sony Activision deal that states that Warzone 2 is going to be an individual game. And unfortunately, Jason couldn't provide me with the details for whatever reason. I'm not sure if it's because he doesn't know or if he just doesn't want to share those details or whatever it may be.
So we can boil it down to this. Sometime, likely between holiday 2022 and spring 2023, Infinity Ward is releasing a new Warzone map that will feature an entirely new set of mechanics and content that will not replace the existing Warzone, but looks to be the future that Call of Duty is looking to transition into. A lot of people have already expressed some dissatisfaction with the idea that their hard-earned level ups and guns and operators might be going to waste. But again, old Warzone isn't shutting down yet, at least from what we know currently. To swing back around to an earlier comment made, it's interesting to note that according to Tom's information, Raven Software is not working on Warzone 2, but they will be continuing to work apparently on Warzone currently, or Legacy Warzone as it may go on to be called, as evident by that email earlier. This means that while there is an unfortunate split between the attention moving forward, it seems at the very least like there is plans to finish out the year, if not beyond that, with the dedicated team already on hand continuing to try and work on improving the game, meaning that even if Warzone as we know it may be coming to an end in the next year or two, it's not just going to be unceremoniously dropped in favor of this revelation that a new Warzone is coming out. And that's about it. Heck of a video, and there's absolutely a lot more to say, but for now I think that's about enough. This was nearly a video yesterday, but there was so much more unfolding, I decided to give it a little bit more time to cook, and I'm honestly glad I did. I think a lot of the revelations we got this morning were well worth waiting for, and there are certainly even more exciting revelations on the horizon. Right now, the future of Warzone is very, very uncertain. There's so many details left up in the air, it's honestly hard to make any solid predictions or even formulate some of my own opinions on the matter. I don't know how I feel about the idea of Warzone 2 coming out this soon already. I'm not sure how I feel about the idea of it being based around the new mechanics that we're no doubt likely going to see in Modern Warfare 2. Part of me feels optimistic. I want to be excited, but I also really wanted to see Warzone as I know it get improved and get patched up. I wanted to see it with less flying cars, a little bit more weapon balances, new operators and things like that, and who knows how that's going to look before the game does reach the end of its life cycle. But here's where I turn things over to you. How do you feel about the idea of all this? How do you feel about these leaks? How do you feel about the potential future for Warzone? An Infinity Ward-made battle royale, a Call of Duty game with a whole new feel, whole new set of balances to it, a whole new set of guns, new mechanics, who knows what else? There's a lot to potentially look forward to. At the same time, are you upset at the idea that we might be seeing the ends to Warzone? It's gotten a pretty healthy lifespan so far, but it certainly seemed like it had a lot more potential, especially considering this era in which so many games companies are looking to really maintain games long term. The games as an ongoing experience has been a very, very common sentiment, and I'd imagine a lot of Warzone players expected to get another 2 or 3 years out of the game. Who knows? Like I said, I want to know what your opinions are, and we can move from there. And of course, as soon as there is more news regarding these leaks, regarding Warzone 2, regarding Modern Warfare 2, or any other Call of Duty updates, I'll be back with another video. But for now, that's all I've got for you. Thank you so much for joining us for this extra long video, and we'll talk to you again soon.